Time to talk about the Trump's official picture and make a detailed body language analysis and a photographic analysis. And why did he choose to look like this? The first thing, of course, when I saw this picture, the first impulse I had is this looks a lot like that legendary mugshot. You remember that mugshot? It was in 2023. I remember it well. I dedicated a video to analyze that mugshot, and you can't tell me that it doesn't look like that. It doesn't look like that. When you see it side by side, you see that at least the angle of the head, I'm going to talk about the lighting, which is very important. The angle of the head is almost the same. The facial expression, there are subtle differences. We're going to be analyzing the highest quality possible in 4K. But by the way, just a reminder that in terms of the mugshot, I always remember this version of the mugshot. But for me, you know that I love Japan, and this was, as a meme, one of the coolest and more badass versions of Trump's mugshot. It was just for reference. I had a lot of fun looking at this one. I had this as the background of my mobile phone at some point. But well, let's talk about this. What is the first impression that you have? The first impression is that there's something ominous, like he means business, like he is really serious. I'm gonna zoom in. There's a lot of quality in this picture. In fact, I have a higher quality one here. And there is a very good explanation of why this looks so, powerful. And I think the exact word is ominous. They use, let's say it's not a not very common way of lighting the face. There is this huge light, which is from the bottom up. And you can tell there was this strong light from the bottom up, because when you zoom into his eyes, his pupils, you can see right here, this is the bright light that it was on the table. Right on the table, there was this bright light, and you can see that there was one fill light on the top. What does it do? Well, it is very simple. You know when you're camping and you're telling, terror stories or something like that, and you put a flashlight to your face and you do like this. So yeah, that you do this effect. Having a light from the bottom up gives that effect, that ominous effect. Of course, you have a strong fill light. You don't have that shadows that are that contrasting, but still has that effect. Like he comes and he means business to whatever he's going to do. You can see that, for example, the tip of his nose, the bottom of his lips, the bottom part of his chin, the little bags under the eyes, all that is light up. The bottom of the glabella is also light up. All that brings that effect. All that emphasizes that effect of being, it's the same word that we have said, ominous. Now, the other thing that people were noticing was the difference with one side to the other side of the face. Usually, we could say that the left side of the face is more emotional, and when you see a more expressive right side of his face, remember that his right side is this one. If you see this more expressive, that is more intentional. If you see the left side react in a stronger emotion, that is more spontaneous. If you see the right side of the face, that is more intentional. That was more on purpose. And you can see that he had that look. He has that look that he is going for all these people who are against making America great again. Against all the, for example, all the illegals that have to be deported. Well, he's got his eyes put on them. But also we need to compare this against the photo from 2016, and in which we had much more conventional lighting. The lighting was completely even all over his face. He was smiling. It was a broad smile, and it was a very symmetrical smile in which both eyes, I could say that both eyes have the same intensity. It was a genuine smile that he was doing, but it was the photo itself, it was a bit bland, you know? It's like it lacked, it was presidential, not gonna lie, it was real presidential. By the way, he was wearing a blue tie. He is wearing a blue tie again. And I think that the reason to wearing a blue tie is to not look too partisan. You know, that you wear you could wear a red tie. I don't know if there's if that's part of the protocol that you have to wear a blue tie. I didn't check it, but it's interesting that he chose a blue tie in all cases. In terms of the tie itself, this is the current tie that he chose, a flat, shiny tie. The tie is, a bit rough. It's quite a bit rough. In fact, it happens what we were talking yesterday about Biden. You see the double tie, that the other part of the tie is showing below. I correct myself. This is not the back of the tie. It's that it's there's this the little dimple on the tie, but at the same time it's a very rough made. It's not perfect. Like, okay, maybe I mean business. This doesn't have to be perfect. Let me see the one. This was a double knot. This was a single knot in this case. Single knot, this is a single knot. This single knot is usually a bit asymmetrical. And he used to be a double knot back then in 2016. Much more classical, much more symmetric. This was nice, but it was a bit boring. It was a picture a bit boring. This is much, much more. Look at that. That is what I want you to see. The contrast between the shadows. You see that there's these shadows on his face, and the lighting, which is from the bottom up to this. Well, it's amazing, the difference between one and the other. What can we say about the expression? I said this when I was analyzing the Mugshot a couple of years back. The expression naturally is how can I use this word? How can I use this word and people don't misinterpret it? The thing is that there are definitions to words in which you can use certain head angles that can look arrogant, in the sense that if you do this, it's like you put your chin up. That is quite an arrogant pose. You can keep your chin pretty much neutral, like in 2016. His chin is perfectly aligned with the horizontal. It's neutral, doesn't convey anything in particular. But when you put your chin down, like in the mugshot or in this picture, well, it is more like I'm going to say the word predatory, because that is a predator. That is a predator face. Okay? Again, you can take me out of context. I really don't care, because I know that my audience knows the nuances of English and language, and know that when we're talking about predator, it's like you're not a victim, you're the predator. You're going hunting. Like it's like that Bjork song. Yeah, it's like he's going hunting. He is the predator who is going hunting. That is the symbol. That is the feeling that you get from that head angle. That is why it's so powerful. But back then in the mugshot, so that there was this, we had basically the same, no asymmetry in the eyes. Both were open the same way. But right now, the lighting, the angle of the head, the asymmetry between the eyes, this is really dangerous. It looks dangerous. Badass with focus, says Lena. Lena, okay, there's your other comment. Yeah, predator as in a mighty lion or leopard hunting its prey. That's exactly what I mean. So, again, someone said in the chat, eye of the tiger, he means business. Yeah, make America godly again. Again, this is and I also see that there are some anti-Trumpers here. You're welcome, of course, as long as you are polite with your comments. Again, you're welcome. Cry harder, no problem. Cry harder in the comments. But again, this is very important because this is what sets up. This is how you prime what is going to be Trump's next 4 years. What do I mean by priming? Priming is like, if you have this, okay, maybe Trump was hopeful that he could do many things for the United States. We already know through so many documentaries, we know through so many recollections, so many videos, that the Obama administration in those last few months, they made everything to make Trump's life miserable. And well, now we have the idea with this image, with this photo, that is not going to happen this time. He already knows so many things. He has the experience. He has he's been shot at. That's something that is important. And he knows that what he's facing, he has literally nothing to lose. This is his second term, nothing to lose. He's going to do whatever it takes to fix what the Biden-Harris administration did. We're going to be talking about Biden in a minute. But most important, all the things that are happening in the world will be determined by the priming of this picture, as in what is happening in Ukraine and Russia, what is happening in the Middle East, or what is happening in the UK, Canada. All of them have to understand that this is the Trump that they will be dealing with. Okay, all right. So this one is the one that they will be dealing with. That's why a picture is so important, because that represents the person. Literally represents you. It's like the avatar that you use in social media. You want to make sure that it represents your message, your personality, your character. That is a topic for very interesting video, by the way, because that's the impression that people will get. For example, when you read someone's tweet and you see the avatar, the tone of the tweet is always going to be modified by the picture itself. The tone of these 4 years of Trump are going to be at any point or another. Well, this is going to be a big influence. Then I'm pretty sure that it was not exactly trolling. I don't think that this was exactly trolling people. I'm going to troll people. I'm going to use a picture similar to my mugshot. I think this was more like, you need to remember that all that I have been through, all that they have thrown at me, and I emerge from this. And that is the main message that we have to take from this. I need to talk about Vance's picture as well, which is way more strong. It still has a very strong contrast It's not usual. There's a contrast. It doesn't have, let me see, sorry, it doesn't have the same bottom to top lighting. The lighting is much more conventional. He also uses a blue tie. And there's a huge distinction that you could have spotted immediately. One of them is an American shot, which is from the waist of the solar plexus up, Vances, and the other is a close-up, which is a close-up on Trump. I think there's in fact, Trump's picture is much closer than the one in 2016, which adds to the intensity of the picture itself. That's important. The closer you are to the closer the camera is to you, or the more you feel the frame, the more intense and closer is the zoom, the more intense is going to be the expression, the more powerful is going to be the impression. It's only going to amplify the effect of the facial expression on whoever looks at it. So imagine that picture, that picture on a poster on a wall. It'll be really impactful. And again, Vance, my only complaint is that I would have expected Vance to to use this one, this picture for his official VP photo, but you cannot have everything that you want in life. Again, making a quick summary. Very important, the lighting from the bottom up has that ominous effect, like you're having this, you're telling this scary story at a campfire with a flashlight. You have the asymmetry on the eyes, as in you're ready to, you're pouncing, you're prowling, you're a predator, you're hunting, which is emphasized by the tilt of the head, also having a nod to the mugshot. And most important is how close is he to the camera, how he feels all the frame, which makes the expression all the more impactful. Like Jameson says, no political figure has gone through what Trump has gone. Yeah, I agree. Vance's picture is really good. I agree as well. Let me put both of them so we can look at them both. Love that one from J.D. Vance. Yes. JD has lovely eyes. Yeah, the guy has some pretty striking eyes, and they are really there's an A10s, spot on A10s. See other of your comments. Where can I get some of that does that to my eyes? I don't know. There's something. Well, aura. We can you can project aura in many ways. But again, this is something that it's so impactful how a photograph can be, and all the opinions that you can have, and not only in the live chat but in the comments. I would love to know what do you think about this in the comments. But let's highlight the live chat. Let's highlight the live chat because I want to know all your opinions while we move on to the next topic. We have 4 topics today. We're going to be quite